Okay, so now we need to fix the news we have after the slider. So I'm going to go to home and I'm going to just uncomment all and I'm going to comment the videos list. So of course you're going to get a lot of errors right now. And we have a lot of issues that we need to discuss. I made some mistakes with the database. I'm going to tell you in a minute what we need to do to fix it. So I'm going to go to news list, remember command or I believe it's control, and then click on news list. Okay, so right here, there's a lot of things that we are not going to use. We are not going to use Axios. Oh, so I'm going to delete it. There we go, delete it. And we are not going to use URL. Okay, but we're going to be using Firebase, so we need to import some things from Firebase. It's going to be import Firebase, just like that. And it's going to be teams. Then whatever, we're going to fetch the teams. Whatever, what else? We need to Firebase and then articles. And we're going to use that Firebase looper. Firebase and then looper. And then it's going to be from // one more time and then Firebase. Good. So now we have all the things we need to, make the request. So I'm going to go right here at the bottom and I'm going to be changing this request. We are not going to use this. So I'm going to comment all of this and I'm going to comment all of this for now, just for now. And of course, it's gonna reload the page, should be reloading the page. And of course, we get a lot of error messages, but that's good. So what I'm gonna do right now, there we go. So what I'm gonna do right now, first I'm gonna be fetching the teams. So fetching the teams is really simple. We just need the list of all the teams. So we're gonna say Firebase and then Firebase teams dot, and then once, and then we get value. Then of course we get a promise, so open and close. This one is going to be returning a snapshot. Okay, so we do snapshot. Now again, we're going to be using the const teams, and instead of using an array, we're going to be using that Firebase looper we have at the top. So Firebase looper, and we pass the snapshot. All right, this is going to bring something. Then we need to set the state with the teams. So it's going to be this dot set state open and close, and we say teams, and I'm going to save it, and at least one error message. Okay, that's good. So okay, so we have the teams, everything looks nice. Okay, so that's fine. We just set the state with the teams. We should be getting the teams, so we get it. And I forgot to do this, then that's why we are getting an error message. Okay, so that's good. We get the teams, right? Now we need to fetch the articles, and this one is going to be a little bit different. It's going to take a little bit more time. So we're going to say first we access the Firebase.articles. Now, if you remember what we need to do, we need to fetch not all the articles. We need to start from the third article from the top and then load an amount of articles. If you remember inside home, we are passing the amount right here. And this was my mistake. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So first, since we need to fetch to start from the third, we need to order by child. So this is going to order the articles by child of something. It could be an ID, could be the team, could be whatever. And so right here, we have the ID. And this was my mistake. I should have started with 1 instead of 0. So we're going to fix it in a minute. So it's going to be ordered by child, and I'm going to select the ID. So it's going to order everything by child, by the ID. Now we need to specify the starting point. So we're going to say start at open and close. And if you remember, this function has a start that we are passing at the bottom. So we're going to say the start is going to be the start. Save it. Then dot, and we're going to end at. Again, we're going to have the end, which is going to be the amount we are passing, how many articles we are fetching. So it's going to be equal to end. Right here we have the same thing. Then of course we do once and we do value. Let me make this. There we go. So okay, this value, just like before, returns a promise. So we open and close and we catch that snapshot, and then we run a function. Good. Now this function is going to have articles. So we say articles. It's going to be equal to, and we use that Firebase looper. Told you that we're going to use it a lot of times. So we pass the snapshot that we get from this. Good. So now we need to do a lot of things. If you notice right here, we have this set state, and we add the response to the previous articles we have on that items state. And then we pass the start and we pass the end. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to say, this dot set state, open and close. And inside the state, we do pretty much the same thing than here. So I'm going to copy and paste and uncomment this. So this should be the same thing. Okay. So, this looks good. Should be working. I'm going to be adding a catch. I'm going to do catch. And for now, I'm going to be passing just the error. And then console log. And then the error. Okay. Looks good. So I'm going to save it. And I'm going to go back to the project. And we're going to get response is not defined. Let me make, it's because we are passing state.items. And we are passing response. This is because I did copy paste, but we don't have this variable anymore. The thing that contains our articles is going to be the variable articles. So I'm going to say ... and then articles. I'm going to save it. Let's see now. Okay, we get the articles. We have a few problems right here, but we're going to fix it in a minute. Now notice that we have right here kind of a more articles, and if I do more, these two are duplicated. And this is again because I made a mistake. Instead of 0, it should be 1. So you can change this right here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right here in this variable, and I'm going to fix it just by hand. I'm going to do +1. So this is going to just keep going on the database and changing everything on a function or manually, So okay, it's going to reload the page. And if we load it, we have the next article, not duplicate one. So we are just adding by 1 every time we do load more. Good. Okay, that's good. So now we have a different problem. We have the teams and we have this. Now again, if I go to the database, let me go to teams. Whenever we do we use the Firebase looper, the Firebase looper is gonna grab the ID and replace the ID with whatever key we have. So now the ID of the team is going to be this one. But inside articles, right here, we have a different ID. So again, there's a different choice. We could change all the IDs from this database, but I didn't want to do that. What I did, I just added a new key with team ID, and then it's going to be equal to the ID. We have the same thing for all. So now instead of using ID as an ID of the team, we're going to be using team ID. I think this is a little bit better. So I'm going to go to the news list, and now the one that's going to be receiving this data, this team ID, is going to be this part. And if you remember, we have a different component that uses the teams. If I go down, we have it. We should be getting right here at the bottom. Okay. So let me check. CSS transition. This is the one. This is the one that is going to be receiving the teams, the card info. So I'm gonna press Command or Control, and I'm gonna click on the card info. So the card info is going to be receiving teams and find an item, and then it's going to be checking if the ID equals the team ID, but we don't have item ID anymore. We're going to have something else. We're going to have team ID right now. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say team and ID, and then save it. And okay, we should be getting the teams, so we do get the teams. Okay, so that works. One thing less. The other thing is going to be this. When I made the database, and we're going to get there, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Whenever we enter an article, when we go to one article, we're going to have the date. And this date, this numbers, is going to be the date in the server time, the Firebase server time. So I did this on purpose, of course, because now the date is not a fixed date. It's kind of a bunch of numbers, and this comes from the server. Whenever we add this article, the server is going to put the time. So now we need a way to decode this, because of course this is not for humans. It's not readable for humans. Now we have a project. We have a dependency to work with the time. It's going to be called. It's going to be called moment. It's very famous. Everyone uses this. I'm gonna just do moment npm, of course, npm, and then moment. Everyone uses this. This is the most popular library to work with dates and time. So if I go to moment npm, I'm going to have all the information right here. And of course, you're going to have the GitHub right here, or momentjs.com. You know, it's really, really cool. The documentation, it's awesome. And you can do a lot of things. If you can see, you can change the date or format the date to whatever you want. All right, this is really cool, and everyone uses this. So now we need this moment.js so we can convert this date, you know, into a human readable date. We didn't have the dependency, so I'm going to go to the terminal, do Ctrl+C, and then of course clear, and I'm going to go to the npm and check the latest version. This one is the latest. So I'm going to do npm install and then moment and add, and it was 2.20.1 and then minus save. So I'm going to install it, I'm going to pause the video and be right back. Okay, so everything is installed, so I'm going to do npm start. It's going to start it again. I'm going to go to the project, of course, not working. So now what we need to do, we need to use this moment library and convert the date. And I'm going to show you, it's going to be really, really simple. It's going to say moment and then from and moment. Moment. So this moment is going to receive an argument, which is going to be the date we have, and then it's going to just convert this. So I'm going to remove this, and instead of this, I'm going to be passing a function. You know, you could pass right here, but you know, again, it's going to be a function, so it's not a good idea to run functions directly right here. So it's going to be form and then format, you know, format date. Makes sense. So it seems like a good name. And I'm going to be passing the props.date. Now this format date is going to be just a variable that is going to be a function that is going to be receiving a date. Good. And then we run a function and we return something. And what we want to return is going to be moment, and we use the library we just imported at the top. And this moment receives an argument, which is going to be the date. And then after this, you can do whatever you like. You're going to be using the format function, the format method. And right here, you pass the format. What I want to get is going to be a space. I want to get first the month. And just like this, you could use something like this, but I'm going to choose this one. And then the day, and then, you know, the year. And that's it. I'm going to close this, make this a little bit better. I'm going to save it. It's going to reload. And there we go. We have the date just like we wanted. So everything looks good. All the posts have the same kind of the same date because I've entered everything at the same time, of course. So, you know, but this is working. Okay, so everything looked good. We have the slider. We have the news. The load more is working. We've fixed the cart info. And this is going to be used a lot of times because it's a reusable component. So we have one thing less to do. So now what we need to do, if I go to home, we need to fix the videos list. So, okay, so let's go to the next section and start with this one. And this one again, since we have this one, it's going to just be pretty much the same thing we did inside Newslist. You know, it's the same idea. It's going to be really short. And then we're going to be starting with doing a different thing. Okay, let's go to the next one and fix the videos list.